What's up, guys? Look, as you guys know, this is my 03 all-wheel drive Rsx. I wanted to make this video and show you guys how I've redone my rear suspension. If you're looking into doing this, you'll know, like I talked about in the beginning, there's only a couple of options. You can use the CRV rear hubs, rear trailing arms. That's the way everybody's doing it. And then use the CRV spindle. If you know, then you know that the issues with doing that is that you lose an inch of wheelbase. In other words, if you start right here, when you use the CRV trailing arm, it's right here. It's a whole inch. And I'll tell you how I know. I went back to the Rsx. These are Rsx trailing arms. As you can see, if you're not familiar with the car, it's all-wheel drive. This isn't a video to like tell a bunch of people that they're doing it wrong or anything like that. I'm just telling you that I found a better way. Just got the car back from the alignment shop today. The car is perfectly aligned, has tons of adjustment. Now let me tell you what's wrong with the CRV stuff. I've got this off because now I'm just making stuff cleaner. The CRV brake caliper bracket that you have to use has this big weird thing that sticks off the front of it. I just shaved it off. Looks a lot better. Looks like it's Rsx. So kind of the guy who gave me this idea is a YouTuber. His channel is it's just a base Rsx or something like that. And he actually talks about doing this. But I spoke with him and he actually changed and went back to CRV stuff. I had CRV stuff on here. I hated it. If you're not because it's bad per se, it works. There's people doing it. But if you've ever done it, you see this trailing arm. See how it's straight, comes out. Like I said, this bracket's just off because I was working on that. But this trailing arm runs out straight right here and is perfectly aligned. The suspension geometry is proper. Now, to do it this way, what you have to do is this back camber bolt works. There's no issue with that. You just have to space it. You have to use some shims and just space it with, I used washers, some nice thick washers. Once you do that, that's simple. Nothing needs modified. Now what he did was he drilled out his bushing on this front mount. See, yeah, he drilled out his bushing right here. I did not do that. What I used was just a 17mm bolt that was actually off a different suspension, but suspension nonetheless. And long as it's big enough to where it fits tight inside that bushing, that's fine. I also removed from the factory, these have like a solid bolt that it runs through. What I did was I just took that off and put a 17mm nut. I also had to elongate these holes. That gives you the adjustment that you need. Because what I ran into was, without doing that, when you use the Rsx arms, what'll happen is you have toe out and there's not enough adjustability to get it back in. So that fixes that. You still have a little bit of a funky angle, but right here, but nothing like you do if you're using CRV arms, because CRV arms are this much shorter. So they're like, it's all kind of funky when you're using CRV arms. All of this stuff. In fact, if you guys, probably the biggest channel doing this kind of stuff right now is That Racing channel. And if you watch, when Real Street did his car, they said they had to upgrade these to spherical bushings. A A lot of people might have missed that, but if you've ever done this, you know why they had to upgrade it to spherical bushings, because it has this thing cocked like a pistol. It's like this. And so they went to a spherical bushing. But that works, but you still have jacked up rear geometry on your suspension. And you lose an inch of wheelbase, which is not good. You don't want to lose wheelbase, especially if you're doing any kind of racing. So let me just kind of repeat it. If you use these arms, if you just go buy CRV spindles to do this, front bolt, shim it, rear bolt, oval out the hole, use a smaller bolt. And now, if you use CRV arms, you have to do all kind of crazy stuff to this shock mount too. You have to drill this out. So you're gonna have to drill it out either way. If you use this one, now that's no problem. There's no issue with that. It works perfectly. Axle angle is still good. Yeah, I think this is the proper way. Now that it's dialed in, this car rides, handles, performs just like a stock RSX that's all-wheel drive. And so yeah, I thought that was a really cool, let's call it a innovation or whatever, but that's how I've done it. And I think that is the best way to do it. Super happy with it now, and I don't have to worry about it. Here's a little outside view of the RSX. It's been raining its butt off. Figured I'd show you guys from right here. I go ahead and challenge you. Go ahead and look at all the other all-wheel drive EP3s, RSXs. You're gonna notice that the front of that tire is a lot closer. It's an inch closer to that quarter panel. What I'm showing you is gonna keep that same suspension geometry. I can tell you this car it hasn't been on the dyno yet, but on E85, it ought to be between 550 and 600. I can tell you, I've already seen a difference in getting that inch of wheelbase back. The car is just more stable, much less, I'm trying to think how to describe it. I guess it's a lot extra sensitive. It's like it's always trying to kind of bounce out. And I would imagine, I don't know because I haven't tried yet, I would imagine that you could probably get the sway bar back on the back side of it doing it this way. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think. I think this is the way I would have done it from the beginning. I'm very happy with it. And at this moment, this is the best option we have. There are supposed to be some bolt-on hubs for this RSX trailing arm. I guarantee you they were doing the same thing. So if money's not an option, and once those hubs come out, that still would be a great choice. But for right now, doing it this way is the way. If I had to start all over, I would do it just like this from the very get-go. And it's even less things that you need to make your car all-wheel drive. And furthermore, I just kind of want to let you guys know that the way this car being set up, it has the gravy belt modifications to the CRV rear diff, and it's on a stock transmission. Now granted, we know it could go out tomorrow. Also stock Honda Element drive shaft, stock length and everything. I've had zero issues with this. Now I don't launch the car hard, or I haven't. I mostly do roll stuff, but I'm putting In second gear, I'm put with a 5.0 final drive, which is a much torquier final drive than almost anybody has. It's really the torquiest I've seen on an all-wheel drive car. Most people run a 4.0, 4.2. 5.0, second gear, I can put down 16, 17 pounds of boost without spinning. You even go look at some of the EG. Of course, I know it's a little heavier car, but you go look at some of the EG, EK all-wheel drive builds. They're blowing them off in second, having to, keep the boost real low and still spinning. If you're second guessing this way to do it, I tell you what, you'll surprise yourself. Just save a few $1,000s on a wagon rear diff. Throw that in there and see what it does.